or it's all one thing. It happens in multiple phases. This is all healing. It just
Mm-hmm.
happens in multiple phases, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we had a conversation with Shatoria a while ago, and she was talking about the original wound, finding what the original trauma is, right? And
Mm-hmm.
healing that before you are ready to step into the right relationship for you, right? And I think, yes, we all have those original wounds, but I think we can take that approach with every wound we receive, right? Whether it's whether it's a relationship you just got out of, whether it's, oh, I'm now over that old relationship, but I'm trying to figure out how to transition into a new one, or if I'm even ready to start transitioning into a new one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's what was the original thing that brought you to this place? Have you addressed that original thing? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
if you've addressed that original thing, how are you how are you moving forward in that mindset of healing? And you've spoken to it a little bit in terms of like switching up your circle. We've spoken to it a little bit with changing the patterns of behavior, switching out your routine and everything like that. But I think we also don't need to sometimes we underestimate how helpful it is to just take time. I think, yes, now we spoke earlier about like you control everything in your circle, right? But if you control everything in your circle, then you also have to recognize then that the healing is already there. The recovery is already there. You just have to, it's just a matter of time at that point, right? And I think there are so many people who they'll quote unquote recover, but they won't give them, they'll heal, but they won't give themselves the time to recover in the ways that you're talking about it. Meaning they'll do everything they need to clean the wound, to patch it up, all of that sort of stuff. But then healing takes time. They won't give themselves that time. So they'll sew it up, but then they'll be right back out there on the football field playing the game. And it's like, yo, yeah, you sewed up, but there is a good chance that you could rip this thing back open if you're not
Yeah.
careful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of people who they either don't give themselves enough time or they take too much time. And in the not giving themselves enough time, yeah, they could rip the wound back open, but in taking too much time, you it's sort of keeping the sports analogy. If you take too much time away from the game, then your skills diminish, your ability to it's just that your skills
Yeah.
diminish. So like the ability to make decisions about what type of relationship or to navigate a relationship in a healthy way, in a proper way, and to make the correct moves in a given situation, you lose that skill because you become so accustomed to being alone. And that's
Yeah.
something that I myself have run into, where it's like, yo, I've been alone for so long that at this point I don't even know how to act. And I've been
Yeah.
in that space where it's just like, and I say there are some positives to it, because at that point, any relationship you enter into, you can treat it like it's a brand new thing, a brand new experience, and you do leave a lot of that old stuff behind.
Yeah.
But also, you keep trying to reinvent the wheel sometimes, and it's like you don't need to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll kind of go on to our last point, and I know this is probably something that I think Jay is going to have a lot of thoughts on.
Mhm.
How to start dating again. Um,
Yeah, I got some thoughts.
okay, so
That's
we'll
that's a
start with
smooth
Jay.
transition, brother.
Yeah, I know. So we'll start with Jay on this one. We'll start with you on
Um,
this one.
I think, I mean, we sort of just started off on this topic in that we were talking about
Mhm.
you gave yourself enough time to heal, you've given yourself enough time to recover. Now you
Yeah.
have to let go of the fear and put yourself out there.
Okay. So okay, so all right. So I think when you start to do that, there's still a little bit of a fear factor to say,
There's always going to be.
yeah, like I don't want to go to happy hour. I don't want to go to the clubs.
Yeah,
I don't
there's
really want to
always
put
going to
myself
be
out
that.
there as far as the online dating. And it
See,
goes back
online
to
dating, I just dislike as a what's it called? As a mechanism, period, because I
why is
like
that?
so, and this might be another thing of routines and patterns, but I like the physical face-to-face interaction of I've seen you, I can gauge your reactions. It's me either at my best and at my work or
Okay,
at
so
my worst,
how do
whatever.
you get to that? How do you get to that s- to start dating again? How would Jay put yourself in that person's shoes? How
I'd
would you get to
say so for me, and this is so I'm essentially in that place right now, right?
uh
And it's for me at least, it's a lot more about letting go of fear than about any other things. Because let's be real about it, not to toot my own horn or nothing, but I'm a pretty good looking dude. I have a job, I have multiple jobs, and I'm not trying to do anybody wrong. I'm
I
genuinely trying to
I
look
think it was a
for a
horn. I
relate.
think you batooed it.
See, first of all, yes. Second of all,
If I was near you, I'd give you a fist bump.
but like, look, bro, I know I know who I am, and I know what I bring to the table. Now, I haven't always, and I know there are still aspects of myself that I can't even recognize that I bring to the table.
So
But
let me when you say you bring to the table,
mhm,
I think your expectation, are you expecting someone else to bring something to the table? Because a lot
yes,
of times exactly, a lot of times in dating, it's tend to be this seesaw type of perspective, right? I bring this to the
nah,
table, and then the other person's like, they don't have to bring it to the table. I got it.
no.
And
At this point, we were talking earlier about red flags, standards, all of that sort of stuff. It's like, look, if if I know that I am whatever you want to put to it, I am enlightened, I am a king, I am a god, I am the master of my domain, whatever. If I know all of this about myself, why then would I lower myself to accept less than I deserve?
to expedite the process of sensation, the expedite the
But
process
see, I'm beyond
of
that right now.
yeah. But some people, some
No,
men and women
I
are
understand
feeling
that some people aren't, but
it's
that's
the
where the
fulfillment.
personal work.
It's the fulfillment of happiness, right?
Yeah,
I
but
think
that's where the personal work comes in though. Like because
correct.
I know that, bruh, if you're for real interested in temporary sensation, then you can find that. You could,
You could,
I mean,
you
again,
could,
you can do whatever you want to do. You
but
can
I
go
think
out
that
and
the
buy,
issue
you
is
can go
that
out and buy pleasure, literally. You can
that's
go
true.
out and
But
buy it. You can
I
pay
think I
for
think
it.
that I think the thing about it is that people want to fulfill this state of loneliness, right? But
So that's
people want to feel, they want to isolate themselves too, right? They want, it's like this
so
cake and eat it too. It's like, okay, to start dating is like I got to give myself to someone else, right? They're
yeah.
cool with that in the beginning, right? But when it gets
But
down
so
to, go
here's
ahead.
here's here's what I'll say to that. So I recognize that I am, and I'm going to keep saying this because I'm affirming it for myself as much as for other people, that I am that dude, like
There's the horny
I
one.
am me. But in that, I also recognize that, yo, you are that dude too. She is that woman. Like we all have this capability within us. We are all capable of so much. So we are amazing creatures, literally. We all can create our own reality. Now, individuals may not recognize that, but we all have that in us. So knowing that in my mind, then I don't need to be lonely because it's like, yo, there are so many people out there for me, so I don't need to be alone. I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Like I am like in a what's it called? In a metaphysical sense, I am you, you are me. Like we are all human beings. We all share an experience in that we are
But okay,
here
so
alive on this planet.
it goes
But
back, but it goes back to, okay, so you're looking at it from perspective of, I can be with it or I can be without it, right?
yeah,
Not a lot of people have that same perspective, right? There's this
but
expectation.
that's internal though. That's
Correct.
what I'm
That's
saying.
internal. There's this expectation, there's a standard that people have to be with someone to fill that void, that emptiness. We see a
And
lot in,
I say I submit to that point that that is people again relinquishing control. You are making someone else responsible for your own happiness at that point in time. Whereas if you took control of it, if you were honest with yourself and you were like, yo, I am responsible for my own happiness.
correct. Okay,
Me.
but okay, if that was the case, there'd be a little, well, there is a lot of single women and men out there. But
Yeah, there are.
at the same time, it's like there are a lot of other factors that play into it.
I understand that.
There's insecurities, there's
Yeah.
emotions, there's feelings. So especially there's sensitivity, and a lot of
hmm
that is played on the woman's side just as much as, maybe not as much, but there
So
is a side of
we
that for
like to
men.
say it's go ahead, finish. I'll let you finish.
There is a side of that for men to where people
There you go.
have to have someone, feel like they have to fill that void of, like for example, you're a man and mother and father are still married, they want grandkids. There's an expectation there to feel like I gotta fill this void, right?
But that's where I will say who and this is going to sound harsh and cold, but who cares? I know people care. I'm not saying that people
No, I
don't
know.
care.
Now I get what
I'm
you're saying. Who
saying
cares? I get what you're saying as far who cares what other people
exactly
feel or
like you
think as
have to,
far as between your happiness. But there is an expectation that people in
and
this world feel like they have to uphold. They have to
I'm
kind of, it's a
saying
vision. It's a vision to where they see, well, my parents have been still married for 30 years. I want that too. Right.
and I'm saying that is your ego talking. Because
I
here's
don't think it's
why.
ego.
Here's
I don't
why.
think it's ego.
Here's
I
why.
think,
You may disagree, but here's why I say that's your ego talking.
okay, go ahead. I don't know.
Because
Okay.
because you what's it called? Sure, we are conditioned to want certain things. I'm not disagreeing with that point. And yes, there are expectations placed on us for like, oh, grandkids, you have to have a wife, you have to
Mhm.
white of the American dream, house and a white picket fence, two kids playing in the yard, all that sort of stuff. Cool, bet. I'm not saying that that's not an expectation that a lot of people place on you. What I am saying is we're talking about after you have done the recovery, after you have done the healing, and now you are ready to enter the dating pool.
Okay, yeah,
If you
I
are,
understand
if
that
you
point, but I
have,
think that's still a perspective. I think
yeah,
people
I'm
that
not
go
saying
into
that
it,
this is
yeah,
everybody's perspective. You
yeah.
asked me how I would
Oh,
answer
okay. Well,
dating. I'm not
ladies
saying
and gentlemen,
everybody
this is
else.
Jay's ego.
I'm talking about me. I'm talking about
Yeah,
me personally in this moment.
yeah,
So, like, I understand there are plenty of people out there who they have their own methods of doing it, and I will not speak to anybody's methods of doing it, because what works for other people may not work for me, and what works for me may not work for other people. But if I'm talking about me,
mhm,
I now recognize, and this is after a lot of personal work, a lot of conversations, and there's still a large amount of work that I have to do.
yeah,
But I can recognize that when I am looking for another person, me in this moment,
mhm,
I am looking for somebody who, like you said,